When we are experiencing something from an internal projection on repeat, it might be a thought, a scenario, a feeling, an emotion, an image, a certain situation, and it's kind of like being played on repeat, a certain impulse or urge or action pattern, or the body having an approach avoidance tendency or survival response. Any type of internal style of subconscious navigation being projected into reality from within your own being, sensed through the body mind. When there's something like that that's stuck on repeat, is the best way I can describe it. It kind of just like keeps coming up, and it's like the same little message happening over and over and over and over and over again. Okay? And again, this could be any type of thing. It could be a thought, a feeling, an image, a scenario, a situation, something that happened, a conversation, something that was said or heard. Okay? If there's any type of repeated projection, especially one that's not necessarily super enjoyable, like it's kind of annoying that it's being on repeat, you're not enjoying the repeated projection of this thing, that is a message from parts from parts of consciousness through the body mind, and the body mind is saying, hey, I have this navigation that's being projected based on this moment of an unfulfilled attachment need. And so to help kind of put off this alarm sound, right? Like an alarm sound, I'm going to have this one aspect of navigation being stuck on repeat. And that will help get the attention so that the awareness of self can come in and tend to the attachment needs of these parts of consciousness and help shapeshift this region of body-mind navigation. Okay? So if you see like a siren or something, it's a flashing light, maybe with a sound, and it's on repeat. It's it's an alarm sound. It's not a fluid melody of a song or a light that's going in like a disco ball, right? Okay, it's kind of the same style of energy. Instead of being in like a fun ballroom with fun different styles of music playing, different types of navigation, instead of being in like a ballroom with different styles of navigation, different types of music in this example, and instead of it being like a fun decorative disco ball having all these glittering lights, it's an alarm with one annoying sound and one obnoxious flashing light. And that's the distinction here. It's like that. Instead of there being a variety of thoughts that are pleasant and they come and go, there's this one thing that's kind of stuck on a repeat. Okay? When that happens, it's because part of the body mind is like, hey, I can't navigate this moment anymore because there's this region of disintegrated data because of an unfulfilled attachment needs. And there are these parts of consciousness who are flowing through that information who need assistance from a part of the self that doesn't have attachment needs, which is the awareness of self, the observer of self. Sorry, distracting background noise. Okay? And so there's this alarm going on in the navigation of the body mind so that the awareness of self can be there for these parts of the inner experiencer. Okay? And so learning what these clues mean, learning how to interpret them, and learning to respond to the underlying message instead of to the automated message is really important and can really help us be there for parts of ourselves and positively influence and affect the body-mind wiring that is trying to provide effective navigation. So if there's a thought or a feeling or a scenario or a situation or something that's on repeat, we can actually respond to the attachment needs beneath that automation and respond to the parts of consciousness who are within those projections rather than reacting or responding to that automated thought form. So if there's like an image or a scenario that keeps being projected on repeat, instead of responding to that thought that you're observing, you go deeper and respond to the underlying attachment needs and the parts of the self who have the attachment needs. And there are thousands, hundreds at least hundreds, maybe thousands of different ways to do this. And one of the infinite possibilities is through social self-engagement, especially social soul self inward imagination ignitions. And this is one of my dozens of sacred soul session offerings. And so I teach this concept, and it's something I've been using every day for the last half a decade since first developing it. And it is life-changing. And once you know the technique, you can really apply it in brief moments. It just takes like 30 seconds to like 2 minutes, and you can totally shift the way the body-mind is providing navigation. You can totally shift the wiring in here. You can totally shift how you're connecting with parts of consciousness. And so when you notice these automated projections that are kind of stuck on repeat, it's not about what's actually being projected. It's not about that thought that keeps coming up and won't go away. It's not about that scenario that didn't go as planned. It's not about that feeling that keeps coming up. It's actually about the underlying attachment needs that are not met according to that region of the body-mind that's projecting navigation. And it's about being there for the parts of the self who have the attachment needs through body-mind navigation that are needing assistance from the awareness of self. And when we can shift that perspective and have this deeper understanding of what's actually happening and how to effectively respond, we can really reclaim power in seemingly minuscule everyday moments that can build up to create some profound shifts. And so one of the infinite ways is social soul self. And so you go through a hypnotic sort of meditative trance, or just imagination without needing to adjust your brainwaves. And you practice social self-engagement so that that scenario or that image or that feeling or that thought that keeps coming up is resolved, because parts of the self are practicing distinction and connection with each other and fulfilling attachment needs from within, even though that external experience did not provide that fulfillment of attachment needs. Maybe that person or that situation left you feeling not seen and not heard and not respected and not supported. And the body-mind's like, well, we need to go finish resolving that situation. But that person's, that's not, you don't want to go to the place where attachment needs weren't fulfilled to try and get them to be fulfilled. So instead you go inside and you pretend that there are different parts of the self in that scenario, and you recreate the scenario and fulfill attachment needs for yourself and imagine it the way that you want it to be. So yeah, that's just one of infinite examples, and you can really play with that concept on your own. But if you want to dive deeper into the infinite variables and the technicalities of expanding that practice, I do offer a sacred soul session, and there's dozens and dozens of distinct ways to apply it. That's just one simple example of really hundreds of possibilities. So when you notice a thought form, any style of internal navigation kind of being stuck on a repeat, don't respond to that projection that's stuck on repeat. Take a deep breath and go deeper and say, what attachment need is not fulfilled that's causing this navigation to be stuck on repeat, which is really navigation being disrupted, because effective body navigation doesn't get stuck on repeat. It fluidly flows and it continues flowing. And so when there's something stuck, it means that navigation, the body-mind, has been disrupted. And deeper, how can I be there for parts of the self who might be experiencing these attachment needs, maybe beyond awareness? Maybe the self in the present moment's like, yeah, I feel seen and loved, I'm groovy. But there's parts of the self way deeper in body-mind projections beyond awareness from something that happened 2 hours ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 2 decades ago, and they do not feel seen and loved. But they're not fully connected with everything going on here because they're experiencing life through those body-mind projections deeper beyond awareness. Just a little fun, implicit revelations, insight, and something that can be really powerful on the healing journey. And if you want to explore any of these concepts, you can always dive deeper through my Loving Liberation launch pads. There's lots of different videos, playbooks, courses, programs that share deeper insight. Restoring Consciousness Toolkit would especially be helpful on this particular topic. Have a beautiful and blessed day, and enjoy your journey of loving liberation.